So we just finished talking about, well, you read the chapter. We just finished talking about scientific method a little bit in the lecture videos. And oftentimes, when we're talking about getting valid information and watching for or seeking out, a lot of times folks will say, "Well, I wasn't given that information." And that's where our sense of professional responsibility comes in as researchers, as scientists, as thinkers. It's our responsibility to engage in what's referred to as critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is not it's a learned skill. It's not something humans naturally tend towards. We naturally tend to um, fall into our own bias and perspectives, which we'll study later in the semester. Um, but it's a learned skill. It's a set of tools that we intentionally employ when we're looking for more information. So some of the factors that go into this is minimizing the influence of preconceptions and biases. Now, we all hold our own biases and our own preconceptions. We all experience the world in a certain way. We all understand the world in a certain way, and we all have our own beliefs. So critical thinking is knowing that you have certain beliefs and perspectives and biases, and learning to put those aside to entertain other possibilities while you're looking at any evidence, determining conclusions that can be reasonably drawn from the evidence. So when we look at the evidence of a piece of research, what are the possibilities? What other possibilities could it be, instead of just accepting one answer about something? And that leads to considering alternative explanations. So that ties into what we had talked about with the extraneous variables. Can we say without a doubt that it's only this one outcome? Could there be other possibilities? What else could it be? And that's going to be important for our first assignment that we'll talk about here in a minute. Some attitudes, some beliefs and skills that are important in critical thinking. We have to be able to maintain flexibility. Anything is possible, but we also want to have an attitude of healthy skepticism. So you want to be listening to a piece of research or something, or somebody's telling you about something they've experienced, and you want to be like, you think, oh, well, maybe, yeah, that's possible, but I want to see the evidence. Have other people experienced this? What other researchers have found this? What were their findings? So you always want to look for information, but entertain the possibilities. Scrutinize evidence before drawing conclusions. You don't want to look at just one piece of evidence. Is there other evidence to support things? What does the other evidence say? Um, so you don't want to look at just one piece of information and go, oh, absolutely, I'm concluding that that's the truth. Assuming other perspectives is another important a key element, that we all have our own perspectives. What might somebody else's perspective be? What might someone else's experience be? How might somebody else understand this information? You always want to be able to look at this, any situation, any piece of evidence, any information, from several points of view, and engage in reflective thinking. Really pay attention to what you think about things and how why you believe the things that you believe. You always want to be able to take a look at your own biases. So again, critical thinking is not a single skill. It's a set of beliefs, attitudes, and skills that we intentionally keep in mind while we're looking at new information. So, in the practice and discuss folder, you'll see our first paper due, the the PDF where it says scientific thinking discussion paper. Underneath that, there's a little PDF in blue. If you click on that, the entire assignment will come up. You can read through this assignment, read through the details. Um, but essentially, once you've read through the details, you know that this assignment sort of puts you in the position of pretending to be a dedicated member of a specialized group, the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, and then complete the exercise that is following it, and you can follow the bullets, the listed 1 through 4. You can put together your paper in that organized fashion, 1 through 4. But the important things are, when you're looking for credible sources for an alien abduction, stories of alien abduction or sightings, the sources should be as credible as possible. Keep in mind, .coms and .nets are commercial sites, and their jobs are to sell you things. .orgs can be a little better in terms of validity or credibility, but often their organizations are to get you to believe in something or take part in something. Your best bet for finding credible sources is usually .edu or .gov domains if you're doing a search. Peer-reviewed journals, academic journals or scientific journals lend themselves to decent credibility. But again, all of those need to be looked at repeatedly and researched a little bit. So you want a credible source, as credible as you can get it. The other important thing is I'm going to look for if you can identify alternative explanations for the report itself that you find, and what is the credibility of the source of information. So you can start with Google to find evidence or stories or reports of alien abductions or alien sightings. You can start there, but again, pay attention to the credibility. Then the paper should contain the following 4 points that are on that PDF, on that handout. That is in this week's folder for practice and discuss. So, any questions? Go ahead and put them in the general course questions, and I will see you in the discussions. Good luck.